Hey there, my little business besties. This is Ashley Chamberlain with In Good Company podcast, also founder of Chamberlain and Good Company. I had a very unexpected weekend. A couple of people kind of canceled and rescheduled. So here we are showing up for you because you are why I do what I do. I thought I would take this opportunity to share my own story, my own journey of how I got to where I am today. I am nowhere near done. I am nowhere near perfect by any means, but I do consider myself incredibly blessed. And I want to share with you how I got to where I am today and hopefully help just one person feel like this is incredibly possible. I am a mother, I am a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, I am a manager, I'm a lot of things. Most importantly, I am a person who lives and does her very best every day to serve him. And I want to take you back to where this all started. Anyone that truly knows me, talks to me every day, really knows my character and intentions, knows that I use humor because I like to make people smile. I like to make people laugh. So I hope this does this for you. Baby Ashley was incredibly angsty, knew she wanted to do big things, but didn't know what that meant. So growing up, I had a lot of siblings. We had a very blended family. I didn't appreciate that then as I do now, and just knew I wanted to do something that made a lot of money. That was my only goal. My goal was do something that will make a lot of money where you won't have to worry. And so Angsty actually decided she was going to go to college. Well, as life would have it, did not go the way I thought it would. I was a mom at a young age and had to kind of pivot. So fast forward a few years, a few degrees later, and I found myself in the accounting world. I met who I now consider one of my biggest influences. My father-in-law now was not then. And I really want this to feel like we're just two girls having a conversation. So I'm just going to storytell. I met Scott Chamberlain, who is now my father-in-law, years and years ago, because he was the first person to ever give me a job as an accountant. When I met Mr. Scott, who I still call Mr. Scott to this day, he really changed me. He showed me what caring for your employees can look like, how to do it gracefully, how to do little things every single day to make your employees want to show up. I think about that often, how people that work for you, work with you at the end of the day are still people. And if you try to disconnect yourself too much, you try to draw this thin line and say, I'm the boss. And when I say goes, you won't get as far as you think you will. You won't get as respected as you are hoping to get. So I met Mr. Scott. He owned a transportation company at the time. And fast forward to I fell in love with his son. And, the rest of that is history as far as family. But we found ourselves moving to a different state for a job. I took us, it was me, and we moved to Louisville, Kentucky. I'm no longer at that job, but that job showed me how resilient I could be if I wanted. I don't know about you, but I always struggled with making really deep, meaningful friendships. And I don't know if that's something maybe that happened in my past that I'm maybe working through, but I always put myself on this mountain. And I told myself, oh, you're all alone. You got to do this by yourself. And looking back, that's probably why it took me as long as it did to get to where I am. I held on to that and started working for a large construction company and figured out how I like to get into a company and look down and make it better. And I held on to that and I thought, how could I do this on a bigger scale? So while I was still working for this company, I started trying to make some side money. So I wanted to send my kiddos to some expensive school. So I started this company. I started this company with $0, $0, and looked for everything free I could. So at the time when I started this baby company, I was using pen and paper for everything. I hand wrote letters and sent them out to all of the CPAs, EAs, accountants in the area. I hand wrote them, and I'll never forget, I spent $20, 20 and some change at Hobby Lobby. I picked out these brown envelopes that kind of looked like cardboard, like envelopes. I got a stamp. It was a stamp and some ink, and it was a little like circle, and it said, "You are awesome." Thinking back, it's so silly. But I bought the stamp and it said, "You are awesome." And I typed a letter and I said, "My name is Ashley. I just started this small bookkeeping company and I am here to help you. How can I help you? I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor. I want to help you with this bookkeeping stuff that most CPAs don't like to do. So if you have any subcontracting work, send it my way. If you have referrals, send it my way." I handwrote all the addresses and put a little stamp on it. My husband actually helped me do this. And it's so funny because we always talk about when we were preparing the letters, it was like this assembly line. It was like, here are the letters that I printed out and I hand signed, the envelopes, the "You Are Awesome" stamp, and the postal stamp. And it was such an assembly line. I mean, there was bound to be something that goes wrong, right? My husband actually put the stamp upside down. And I was like, buddy, 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 buddy. Like, we spent $20 on this, so we're sending it out. Well, we did send it out like that. So I sent out, mm, I mean, almost 100 letters and sent them to all the accountants, all of the people in the area, and went on as many podcasts to talk about what I do. I went into the free groups, Facebook. I was using a very cheap CRM. I actually just switched from that CRM because we're outgrowing it, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money. This was my own money. So I got to work. And eventually, so I was doing this myself, right? Didn't have a team. I started doing all the marketing on social media. If you knew me years ago, you know I used to show up live on Facebook every Wednesday and give tips and tricks and try to beat the algorithm, whatever that means. Months later, started getting more and more clients. I reached out to my best friend, whose name is Whitney, and said, "I want to tell you this idea." And I reached out to her, and I'll never forget it. It was in the summer, and she is my ride or die because she'll tell me how it is, but she's also, she's always got your back. And reached out to her and I said, "Hey, I started this company. I have some clients now. I can't do this myself. I want to transition into doing this full time, but I need your help." Whitney she's not going to make any moves without really thinking it through. She'll have your back. She told me, "This is awesome. I love this for you. Like, you're going to do great." But she was not going to dive in and make this her full-time job unless she felt like she was going to be able to make money and pay for her bills. Totally get it. She's a mom. Moms can't just think about what sounds good right now, right? Moms have to think about all the parts. And so Whitney started working with me. Fast forward a year, and we now have a couple of people on the team, and everything is kind of growing and thriving. Fast forward a few more years, here we are. We have a full team, almost 10 people. We have spent some money in marketing at this point. We are not sending handwritten letters, although we did hear from a lot of those CPAs and have connections with them today that we are still doing work for. And they always say it's the little things that get the most attention. They had not remembered the last time they received a letter handwritten on the envelope, and they remember the "You Are Awesome" stamp. So, I don't want to minimize the little things you're doing that you think no one notices. It makes a difference. Today, we have the team. They are all rock star moms. I mean, literal superheroes working for us, working beside us. We have several subcontractors that we now work with, which is so cool. I have an amazing executive assistant who has several children, homeschools them, and keeps us right. Could not be more grateful. We think about how we got here. What comes to mind is relationships. What I was so scared of when I first moved here, when I first started my company was I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at relationships, meaningful relationships, as I mentioned before. But if I didn't continue to work on it every single day and network and put myself out there, we would not be where we are today. So if anyone is scared, if they feel like, I don't know how to talk to people, I don't know how to just go to a group where I don't know anybody, trust me, I've been there. I still feel that way. It was so scary to show up live on Facebook, of all places, Facebook, and put myself out there to strangers, to allow people to comment, to share, to say stuff. It's very vulnerable feeling. And I think that most people who see someone trying, who see someone building, most people are like, yeah, you go, girl. The people that aren't your people. That took me a long time to learn. Another thing I wanted to kind of touch on was, you know, it's so easy to get comfortable. So when you feel like, all right, my business expenses are paid, I have a little profit, I have a team, I can go and get my nails done in the middle of the day and that feels cool. And you get comfortable. And then something happens. Kid gets sick. It's never a convenient time. There's never going to be a convenient time. You realize that you have to get a new computer. You get a big tax bill maybe you weren't expecting. We can help with that. But something happens that makes you realize I was comfortable and I wasn't waiting for the next thing. And it takes you back. And those are the I want to burn it to the ground moments, right? Where, something happens and it was unexpected and now you're kind of scrambling to make it work. And then you feel that like, I just want to burn it to the ground and just go get a job. Like, this is really hard. If something unexpected happens, I'm scrambling. I don't know how to, bounce back from this. I have had those burn it to the ground moments so many times, so many times. If it wasn't for my deep, meaningful relationships that I worked really hard to nurture and to show love and grace for, those burn it to the ground moments would have literally burned it to the ground. But those relationships kept me going. The biggest one in my life would probably be my CFO, Whitney. She is the person I can say, what are we doing? Like, this seems crazy. She's like, no, I'll just keep going. Find that person, whether it's someone you work with, your husband or your wife, your best friend. I've found that most of the time, and I say this with so much understanding and grace, most of the time, your person that you need to be 100% loyal, supportive is usually not someone in your immediate family. Usually, not all the time. Don't come after me. Usually is not someone in your family. Usually, and this is my experience, so take it as you will. I did not feel like I had a huge group of cheerleaders for my business as far as family goes. I had a lot of skepticism. I still get a lot of skepticism. I get a lot of questions. Why are you doing that? You think you're better than everybody. Like, I've heard it all. I'm very fortunate. I have a husband that is my biggest cheerleader. If I'm like, I want to burn it to the ground. He's like, okay, we're burning it to the ground. That's not the kind of support I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one that's like, you don't want to burn it to the ground now. You're just upset right now. So let's get through this moment and look forward. Mr. Scott Chamberlain that I've mentioned before, he is super supportive, but he's also not going to tell me what I might need to hear in that moment. He's going to say, yes, business is hard. He has like a very Gandhi vibe. Like he'll say one thing and kind of leave it there in the space. And you got to figure out, oh, what are you trying to say to me? Do I keep going? Do I not? And he just, whatever you feel like you need to do. So choose your support wisely. Don't put your support on the backs of those who don't understand what you're going through. I say that with the most love and understanding that sometimes you feel like, well, I don't have people to lean on. And for those people out there that might be thinking that, lean on me, reach out to me, reach out to other people who are doing what you're doing. Because if someone reaches out to me and says, I want to burn it to the ground, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to walk you through it. Because those moments are going to be consistently happening. But then it gets better. It gets a little better. So what's next for me, for my company, for the podcast? If you're here for the podcast, great. If you're here for Chamberlain and Good Company, great. If you're here for none of those, great. What's next for the podcast is, now that we are building and getting us off the ground, we are going to be offering places for sponsors, places for ads, trying to think of ways that we can put your business out there as much as possible. That is where the name came from. In Good Company, because we want everyone to feel like they're always in good company. That's why I named my accounting firm after that. So that's what's next for us. Chamberlain and Good Company, we have a lot of cool things coming. We're going to have a paid Facebook membership group where if you're that person that maybe doesn't need to outsource their books or maybe doesn't have the budget for, but you have these one-off questions about business or QuickBooks or whatever, you can come to this group. It's going to be a low-cost membership. It's going to be a very community energy. I'm going to go in there twice a month and answer questions and be there for you. My team's going to be there as well. I'm super excited, and they are going to be posting tips and tricks and mindset, help, and they're going to be there too. I'm just so grateful for them. But I say that not to put little teasers in there because that's weird. I say that to let you know firsthand, I'm always thinking about what's next. That doesn't mean I'm not content about where I am, but I'm thinking about what's next for the company to keep us moving, keep us evolving. So you've heard it here first. That's what's coming up for us. I know I kind of blanketed my journey here, but just know nothing was perfect. Nothing was perfect. No large amount of money was given to me, invested in me. There were coaches I worked with. There were programs I signed up for. Most of the time, I didn't complete the program. I got nuggets from each program. I work with a business coach now, and he is so phenomenal. He's actually going to be a guest on this podcast very soon. But sometimes you have to figure out what you need to keep going. For me, right now, it's a business coach. It's an executive assistant. It's a podcast manager. It's a fully staffed team. It keeps us going. Figure out what you need. If you are in a place that you don't know how to get to that person, or you need some recommendations or referrals, comment below, because I will go back and check this out. At the beginning of the show, I talked directly to my podcast manager, like she's here with me. And I said, Shannon, I have to record today because I put eyeshadow on. That's a big deal. I don't wear a lot of makeup. So this is me showing up, honoring that time that I set aside. Do that for yourself. If you are going to do something and maybe things don't work out the way you thought you did, honor yourself by completing it. So I hope everyone has a good rest of your day. We will see you guys next week.
If I could do it all over again, there'd be no wish I would, should have been. Spend more time with my family and friends. If I could do it all over again, I'd wake up early and start my